Hey, it's Aaron, and today I'm with a 2022 BMW X3. So the X3 comes in a couple of different models. There's the 340 and the 440, I believe those are the numbers they use. The 340 is this one with the four-cylinder engine that's turbocharged to produce 380 horsepower, and then there is a six-cylinder engine option. Something to note for this year is in previous years I have reviewed the plug-in hybrid model that is no longer available for this. This is a refresh year for this vehicle, so it has a few changes, and they dropped the plug-in hybrid for it. I'm not sure why, but I very much suspect it's because they're going to have a full EV line very, very soon. They've already announced a couple of them, and that may end up being one of them. So, changes this year, a couple of things. You can see the body style has changed a little bit. The grille is much more subdued, no more giant beaver teeth. The bodywork itself is largely the same except for this front end. You can see the lights are a little bit different. Grille, of course. And then on the back, we'll see a couple of differences when we go back there. Otherwise, it is the same as it has been before. It's a wonderful vehicle to drive. It has a very, very good power ratio for the size and weight of the vehicle. And really good steering. I really like the way it feels. It's very intuitive to drive this. There are a couple of downers. We'll get to those as we walk around this. Hey, it's Aaron from AaronOnAutos.com, and today's review is brought to you by the Gary Sinise Foundation. Click the link below and donate. So here you're seeing the side profile. You can see the body lines haven't changed really for this new model year, and you can see the very definitive lines that BMW created in order to shape this SUV. I love the wheels. Those are one of my favorite points on this. And again, I like the way it drives. Let me show you, give you some perspective as I walk in, and then I'll show you a couple of the lines that are making the real definition here. So you can see it's a small but not compact. So I don't think I would call this mid-sized. I don't know. It's hard to say, but I call this I would consider this to be a small mid-size. So not quite a mid-sized vehicle, kind of in the small range, not a compact though. It is 2 rows, not 3. You have to go to the X5 for that. And it is very right-sized for a large number of people. So body lines, I promised to talk about those. So you can see faintly right here, you can probably see this edge of the hood, and then this right here, but this edge right here is starting to create the fender. There's also a sharp line right here just below where the hood crease is, or the opening, and that starts a dip inwards, so it goes in and then comes out again, which accentuates the size of this. Now, if you're running along here, you can see there's a line that starts right about here. It just starts to fade in, and it runs all the way down through the door handles, all the way to the rear, where it sort of bisects the rear taillight. So the taillight continues that same line. And then up above that, starting in this line here that I talked about earlier, comes along, and it dips upwards, but it splits in a Y. And that Y goes both directions. You can see it comes down here to create that kind of belt line up here. And so all of those work together with the simple curve that's right here. And then, so there's some inner body work happening right here in what is called a bone line to create this roundness before this sharp crease right here to create the running board down there. And then the running board itself is accentuated with this sticking out to make that final look. And then you can see the rear, the way that this line running here kind of curves outwards and then creates this rear haunch. So the whole thing looks really good. I like the chrome around the greenhouse there. I like these roof rails. They're not functional on this one, but you can get functional ones. And then I like the blackout. So you can see they did a blackout on the pillars here. They did blackout on the rear door right there. And the rear pillar is integrated with the very rear of the vehicle in classic you know, SUV style. So really, really nicely done. I like the way this looks a lot. Very, very elegant and simple without being just completely boring. Let's go look at the working end in the back, and then we'll talk about the interior. So on the back end here, you can see the xDrive 30i. I did the numbers wrong. It's 30 and 40, not 330, 340. So this is the 30i with xDrive. xDrive means all-wheel drive in BMW speak. The S-Drive would be the front wheel only. So I want you to look at the rear end. There's a few changes that happened here. Down at the bottom you can see the departure kind of diffuser. It's not really a diffuser, but the departure plate, I don't know what to call it down there, is a little more well defined than it was before. The twin exhausts are a little bit bigger, and then you can see that, of course, it's been chromed to match the running board edge and the chrome around the greenhouse. And then you can see, just looking at it, the lights have changed a little bit. So that sort of needle shape that they had before is still there, but slightly larger here, and then this middle line here. And then you can see the spoiler up here is, I don't think it's changed much. It maybe has. I didn't notice it. I haven't noticed or seen something that looks like it changed, but this has a little bit. It's a little more sharp than it was before. So nice overall design back here. And then when we open it up, whoops, I'm reaching the wrong spot. There we go. You can see the cargo space, very good size. I really like the way they've laid out their cargo space. It's deep, deeper than you would expect. It's a full arm length with a little bit of a lean for me. So pretty good there. Probably, I want to say 3.5 feet or so of floor space. Now the back seats are adjustable. They go up and down like this. So right now they're slightly canted. So that's not a flat surface there, but you can move them forward. They also fold down almost completely flat, which is nice to know. This of course comes out, and then you have this bigger space for it. Also, something I really love about BMW, they have these sliding tie-down rails. So you have these D-hooks that you push a button, you can slide them around, and then when you let go of the button, they lock in that position. Gives you lots of tie-down options. Now, if I were buying this, I would go with the dealer option to add 2 more of these. They just drop in and slide in really easy. I would add 2 more, so you have 4 points of solid tie-down. But you do have these permanently affixed tie-downs, so that may not be a problem for you. I personally just like to err on the side of I want more. And then under here, there is no spare. They have BMW with run flats, but you do have a little bit of space to throw a couple of things. So if you have like a cargo net or something you want to store, you could throw that in there. And this one does not have it, but there is a first aid kit that normally comes with these. And yeah, it's a nice little get up. There's some grocery hooks. There's a few other things. I really like the cargo in this. It's highly functional, unlike a lot of luxuries. So, all right, let's go look on the inside. So this is the back seat of the X3, and you can see I have pretty okay knee room. This is set for me at 6'3" up there, and I have pretty okay knee room. I have lots of headroom. I've still got that much left, so I've still got a little more than an inch at 6'3". Now the seats themselves are not terribly comfortable, but they're not horrible. I wouldn't bemoan having to sit back here. You do have this. There is a toggle down here, so you can move the seats back and forward. Helpful. And then also just there's USB plugs, climate back here. And you know, all those little niceties. Now getting 3 across, a little bit tight. This isn't a huge vehicle, so that's not the, you know, that shouldn't be an aim for somebody owning something like this. Also, I will note that the parent latch system is very easy to get to. Now, one big downer for this, these doors on the back only open to about 60 degrees, so it's a little bit tight to get in. And if you're trying to shove a car seat in here, that's that much less room you have for your butt to swing to push it down and lock it in, and that's a real bummer. These doors should be swinging to 90. I really wish they did. It's annoying to me when SUV makers don't do that, and car makers. The front doors open that wide, so really easy to get in and out of the front. Speaking of which, might as well go up there. So up front here, very nice layout. Wonderful seating. I really like the seats here. Very, very comfortable. And the layout for controls is really good. It's typical BMW, so if you're familiar with BMW setup, you'll know where everything is here. This has a couple of options on its upgrades. It has the larger infotainment screen. It has the tri-zone climate, which is not, I don't think that's standard. And it has like heated seating, heated steering, etc. For the most part, though, this is what you get with the base model. A couple of things that I really like and a couple things I don't like. The things that I really like are, I love the drive quality of this, and I love the feel of this cabin when you're sitting in it and driving. And I really like that it just kind of has everything in its place, and you easily know where it is. Now, this does not have gesture control, doesn't have a couple other things that you can get, but this doesn't have it. Downers. One of the downers is the interior, while really beautiful, isn't on par with competitors that have just more upscale interiors, more luxurious interiors. But honestly, I don't think that's as big a downer as people might think. This is meant to be a little bit sporty, not fully luxury. And I think that's where it differentiates itself from some of the others. So, beautiful interior, and to me, and a nice feel. I like the color scheme. I do wish that some of the hard plastics were a little less obvious, especially down on the lower end of the dash. But honestly, most everything in here is great. I love the wood that they use, the wood inlay, which may or may not be real. It really doesn't matter. It looks really good. And I really like the large screen and how it's sort of integrated without being intrusive. It's not right in your face all the time like a lot of big screens are. And the head-up display is really good in this. So let's look at the Monroney and talk about pricing a little bit. So looking at the sheet here, you can see total price with delivery is $51,390. That's actually pretty good. Comparatively, if you're comparing this to like a Mercedes model or Lexus, you're going to find that this is going to be a little bit less than that Mercedes and probably on par with that Lexus. You got about $45,700 as the standard, and then you add $1,500 for the paint. Now the Tanzanite Blue Metallic is a really good looking paint. Blue too, I don't know, whatever. And if you think it's worth it, I would totally get it. I'm not a big fan of this color, but it is one of the better colors for BMW. Now, premium package, which adds that heated steering wheel, lumbar support, heated front seats, head-up display, and gesture control. This is supposed to have gesture control. I wonder why I can't get it to work. Doesn't matter. Anyway, $34.50. That I would say is worth it because that's a lot of good stuff in a package. The price might be a little bit high, but I don't think it's terrible. And then a lot of included upgrades, and then they deleted a couple of things, which I don't understand why, but that's cool. There's a whole lot of inclusions if you look at this list here. It's really long. And then about $1,000 for that destination charge. This is really, really nicely done as far as the price tag and what's included. So there's a Monroney. So there you go. That's the BMW X3 and what I think of it. 2022 model. Slightly refreshed this year, a couple of changes, not a whole lot of change, but wonderfully done vehicle, fun to drive. I really like the drive quality. It's probably the best aspect of this SUV, all told. And the interior is a good size, has lots of room, more than I would have expected, and wonderful cargo space. Now, there are some downers that I went over, but for the most part, this is a great vehicle, and I would say very well priced for what you're getting. So there you go. That's what I got. This has been Aaron. Talk to you again soon. Subscribe.